Hello, I'm Juan Davis, Chief Creative Officer at KCT and PBS SoCal, and I am joined by the newsroom of KPCC and LAist on a daily reporter roundup. We've known for a while that Los Angeles charter schools were taking out loans through a $659 billion federal program aimed at helping small businesses stay afloat. But until now, we haven't had a good idea of how common it is. Kyle, you investigated and have some answers for us.
Yeah, we found out that it is actually very common. More than half of the charter schools within the LA Unified School District got loans from what's called the Paycheck Protection Program. You probably remember this, the PPP program. And charter schools are run by nonprofits, so they qualify for these loans that otherwise were sort of intended for small businesses like bakeries and barbershops and the like. Critics say that charter schools really aren't the intended audience for PPP. They're publicly funded schools. Public school funding has not stopped flowing during the pandemic. Critics would say that PPP loans are really supposed to go to those cash-strapped small businesses that saw their revenues dry up entirely. Now, on the other hand, defenders would say charter schools are exactly the targets for this money. They're small nonprofit organizations, and even though their revenues are still flowing, the state's become kind of a less reliable revenue source. They balance their budget by planning to delay payments to schools. So schools are going to be forced to borrow, and so that's why a lot of charter schools are running to PPP.
Today, the regents of the University of California system were set to vote on an $80 million budget cut. Adolfo covered the meeting.
Yeah, this cut is to the budget of UC's Office of the President, which is a small but significant portion of UC's budget. President Janet Napolitano's office manages a nearly $1 billion budget, and that money is used for a lot more than just staplers and notepads. Her office hands out research grants, runs several UC centers, and manages UC's huge investment portfolio, among other things. These cuts that we're talking about, they include hiring and travel freezes, and the scaling back of plans to support administrative diversity programs and other programs. It's important to look at these cuts because they shed light on broader cuts. This fiscal year, Sacramento cut the funding for public universities. UC's budget this fiscal year is 12% lower than it was last year.
Vote-by-mail ballots have been put front and center by the pandemic and by President Trump, who has made a series of unsupported claims about them leading to voter fraud. Austin has a reality check about what we know about ballots that get rejected.
Yeah, over the past 10 years, about 1.7% of vote-by-mail ballots cast in California have been rejected. Now, that information comes from a report put together by the California Voter Foundation, along with USC's Center for Inclusive Democracy. Now, those ballots don't get counted for some very simple reasons. For example, a lot of younger voters in particular forget to sign their ballot envelopes. But another big reason why they don't make it is that their ballots weren't postmarked in time. So Kim Alexander, the founder of the Voter Foundation, says the best way to make sure your vote gets counted is to bring your mail-in ballot to any vote center by Election Day.
And David has been following all of the pain points for Californians trying to get their unemployment payments.
Yeah, and there was a hearing in Sacramento today where California lawmakers really grilled the director of the state's Employment Development Department. You know, they said too many Californians applying for unemployment are being left out in the cold. People are having a lot of trouble applying online, and then when they need help, they can't get through to anyone on the phone. Some have now been waiting months to get their benefits, and they still haven't gotten them. The department has processed more than 9 million claims since the pandemic began, and by any stretch of the imagination, that's just an unprecedented number. But they say that about 890,000 applicants who may be eligible for payments have not gotten those payments yet. This week, the governor's office announced it's setting up a strike team to reform the department, and the director said they're contracting out a complete overhaul of the state's unemployment system, but that's not going to start until October.
Thank you, David. I have a question for you, Kyle. How much money are we talking about that has been taken out by charter schools through the PPP program?
We can say safely that $73 million has been taken out by charters because the federal government publishes all of their loan amounts as ranges. We don't know precise details for some of those loans, so it could be as much as $113 million that's been taken out.
Well, thank you all at the KPCC and LAist newsroom, and thank you for tuning in. Take care of your health, your family, your neighbor, and we will see you tomorrow.